Motivation isn't a spark you strike. It's a garden you tend when no one is watching. If you've ever chased a goal and felt the flame flicker, you know the ache of a question that one quit. Why does one person persist while another sighs and stops? Socrates would lean in and ask not what drives you, but what you truly want to become. In ancient Athens, a city of marble and open questions, motivation wasn't stamped on a coin or found in a quick rush of adrenaline. It was a conversation you live with, the kind of talk that makes your daily rituals feel meaningful, not merely useful. Socrates would say that knowing what to want is the first act of motivation, loving what is good enough to pursue, even when comfort tempts you to stay still. This is not a pep talk. It is a diagnosis. The engine of effort runs on clarity about ends, not merely on the heat of desires. Think of motivation as navigation. We all carry a compass, but a compass is useless unless you've fixed its needle to something true. Socrates charts a course by asking for the telos, the end toward which all your choices bend. If your end is fame, or ease, or being liked, the compass will mislead you when the wind shifts. If your end is a form of good that you recognize in your own better moments, you'll endure the storm because the map you hold aligns with your deeper sense of purpose. Motivation often looks like a runaway train, intense at first, loud, unyielding. Then, as the tracks circle back to the same station, pressure drops, and you're left with a choice: push through or walk away. Socrates invites us to pause at that station and ask what we truly owe to ourselves. Not what others expect, not what distractions demand, but what kind of person we want to have become when the day ends. The ancient method of questioning becomes a modern tool. Every day you ask, what would the thriving self choose in this moment? And then you act as if the answer already matters, because it does. This is where many modern narratives mislead us. Motivation is not a burst of inspiration that arrives like a gift from the gods. It's a discipline, a daily practice of aligning intention with action. Socrates would call this virtue, the habit of choosing the good when it's costly. If you want to be someone who writes, you write even when your hands ache. If you want to be someone who teaches, you prepare even when the classroom is small and the audience sparse. Motivation without virtue is a candle in wind. The flame moves, but the outcome remains uncertain. With virtue, the flame becomes a steady lamp that illuminates the path you've chosen to walk. SFX, candles_soft_burn. 2 here is the twist that Socrates would press into our modern habit loops. Motivation thrives not when the goal is external success, but when the goal is an internal alignment with truth. The soul doesn't flourish by mere pursuit of results. It grows by a cultivation of meaning. If your pursuit is merely to outperform others, you'll detect fatigue the moment the scoreboard changes. If your pursuit is to become more honest, more curious, more useful to those around you, the work itself becomes its own reward. You begin to see that motivation is less about pushing yourself forward and more about choosing what kind of forward you want to be again and again. Consider a simple daily ritual, a journal, a question, a small act of integrity. Socrates would say that every page, every choice, is a vote for the kind of life you are willing to endure. The vote isn't cast once it's cast every morning, with attention. When you write, you don't merely record progress, you reveal your true aim. When you refuse to cut corners, you reveal your trust in a good larger than your immediate cravings. This is the mechanics of motivation. You feed a purpose that can bear the weight of time, not a spark that dissolves in the first gust. We live in a culture turbocharged by instant gratification. Yet Socrates stood in rain and street, asking for proof, demanding that end stand up to scrutiny. If your motivation isn't tested against what you would endure for years, it's not robust enough to sustain you through inevitable boredom, pain, or fear. The test isn't the moment of decision. It's the repeatable pattern of decisions that follows. Motivation is cultivated by a steady diet of small, Honest choices that accumulate into a character capable of weathering the long horizon. To reframe motivation through Socratic lenses, start with two questions. First, what is worth pursuing that would still feel true when your energy flags? Second, what daily action can I take that feels a little more like virtue than merely ambition? The first question anchors you to values that don't rely on external praise. The second builds a routine that respects time as a scarce resource rather than an endless supply. When you answer these two questions, you're not conjuring motivation. You're constructing a durable stance toward life. Let me offer a concrete practice, grounded in Socratic method and modern psychology alike. Each morning, name 3 ends you genuinely care about beyond the immediate payoff. 1 for work, 1 for relationships, 1 for growth. Then pick one tiny action that would honor that end today, no matter how small. It could be sending a thoughtful message, outlining a plan for a difficult task, or choosing to pause before reacting. Do it with the posture of a person who believes their future self will thank them. If you repeat this for weeks, you'll discover that motivation isn't something you chase. It becomes something you align with. A final turning point from Socrates to today. Motivation as friendship with time. Time is the indifferent judge. It neither cares for your excuses nor rewards your excuses. Your task is not to squeeze more energy from the well, but to make your choices fit the horizon you care about. When your actions echo the kind of life you want, motivation follows like a faithful companion, not a fickle fire. The truth is simple and counterintuitive. What you commit to with clarity, you sustain with courage. What you refuse to declare as a priority, you will let drift away with your days. So, the message comes full circle. Socrates didn't teach you to crave motivation. He taught you to know what to want, to live in accordance with that knowing, and to keep showing up when the mood to quit arrives. Motivation, in this sense, is a disciplined tenderness toward your own possible future. It's choosing to work, to learn, to care, even when the results aren't dramatic, even when the world isn't watching. The truth about motivation isn't a secret spark. It's a craft, a habit, a quiet vow kept in conversations with yourself day after day. If you walk away with one image, let it be this: a doorway you open every morning. On the other side is not a perfect life, but a more faithful version of the one you're already capable. Socrates would smile at that doorway and invite you to walk through it anyway, with humility, curiosity, and a stubborn hope that the best parts of you are worth the effort tomorrow and the day after. Motivation then becomes not a reward for success, but a practice of becoming. And that practice, once started, never truly ends. Oyutaro, if you're listening to this, you're already choosing to think about what matters. The rest is practice, fewer excuses, more questions, steadier habits. The kind of motivation Socrates would recognize is a companion that grows when you tell the truth to yourself about what you want and why you want it. So today, pick one end that matters deeply and one tiny action that honors it. Begin there and let time do the rest. The journey isn't glamorous, but it's real, and the longer you stay with it, the more the flame of your own reason starts to burn with a patient, enduring light. Return to that doorway with a calmer claim. Motivation isn't a spark you borrow. It's a covenant you renew daily. Socrates would say the fuel comes from truth about what matters, not the fever of what is flashy. So you train your eye to see the cost, to relish the small duties, to keep your word when nothing pushes you forward. Name a single end worth your time. Then choose one action today that honors that end, even if it feels trivial. Weeks of small acts forge a durable flame. Over months, you begin to notice something. The energy you chased in bursts can be redirected into refining yourself. The reward isn't loud applause, but quiet clarity, the feeling of doing what your future. In that space, motivation becomes a steady practice, a habit that sits with you at dawn and dusk. That is the Socratic turn. Motivation as apprenticeship in virtue, not a trophy in a cabinet. The mind learns to prefer the trustworthy path because you chose it again and again, and found that it fits the person you want to be. If you keep walking, your future self will meet you halfway. Ask yourself, what small choice today would honor a durable end? The answer isn't a surge of feeling. It's a decision you can repeat tomorrow, and repeat again. In repetition, the self hardens into something generous, patient, awake. Open question: when difficulty rises, will you revert to momentum or re-choose the end? Your experiment is simple, ruthless, and humane. Choose, do, observe, adjust. The road to motivation is a slow hand on wood, not a lightning strike. Doorway, closing note. The best version of you isn't born in the moment of triumph, but in the morning after.